The question is, can ChatGPT, OpenAI, and Microsoft, that duopoly, can they beat Apple and Meta open source? Your answer?
No.
Wow. Wow. Stunning.
Yep. Snap.
You snapped it.
Well,
you called. You shoved all the chips in. You believe Meta and Apple will beat the mighty Microsoft OpenAI duopoly.
And look, we've seen this movie before.
This Week in Startups is brought to you by Vanta. Compliance and security shouldn't be a deal breaker for startups to win new business. Vanta makes it easy for companies to get a SOC 2 report fast. Twist listeners can get $1,000 off for a limited time at vanta.com/twist. Scalable Path. Want to speed up your product development without breaking the bank? Since 2010, Scalable Path has helped over 300 companies hire deeply vetted engineers in their time zone. Visit scalablepath.com/twist to get 20% off your first month. And LinkedIn ads. To redeem a $100 LinkedIn ad credit and launch your first campaign, go to linkedin.com/thisweekinstartups.
All right, everybody, welcome to This Week in Startups. It's time for our AI Roundtable, where we do demos. Me and Sandeep have been doing this, and the crowd loves it. The audience has been going crazy for these AI demos. Every week, we try to find 5 demos that y'all will be inspired by or intrigued by, and just to keep tabs on the absolutely blistering pace of AI innovation in our industry. You can see all the demos at thisweekinstartups.com/AI. You can go there, see all the demos, and just really catch up with what's been an incredible, I don't know, what is it, like 14, 15 months into this since ChatGPT 3.5 was released and took the world by storm.
Yeah.
How you doing, Sonny? You got your Super
Excellent.
Bowl. You got your Super Bowl behind you. You were very, very excited about the Super Bowl.
You know, there was a lot of opportunity and it all went out the door with that last play.
Oh man. I mean, was this a good Super Bowl? I mean, I know you're a 49ers fan, but
Yeah.
putting that aside, was this a good Super Bowl? I mean, the amount of excitement around it with this Taylor Swift stuff was extraordinary.
Yeah, that was probably a bit too much, but you know, anything that goes into overtime, come from behind, overtime, both teams have a shot, both teams score, but one scored a touchdown. That's about all you can ask for. So yeah. Up there.
Okay.
I think it was the most watched event ever.
Wow.
You see that?
Yeah, 135 million or something. I don't know what the number was.
What's crazy is like an average Mr. Beast video gets more views. So that's how much our society has changed.
Gets more views, but not live. So I guess the question is like of people watching live.
Down.
Yeah. Because
How do you think about that?
It's just, you could look at the first 24 hours of a video and, you know, how different is that than watching it live? Probably not much different. Everybody's at the water cooler or seeing it the next day. Cumulative videos also matter. You know, if you were to go onto YouTube, the top most viewed videos are like Baby Shark, Gangnam Style.
Yeah.
Things that kids listen to over and over and over again. So I think Mr. Beast falls into this category. It's not taking anything away from him. It's repeatability.
No, Mr. Beast doesn't fall into repeat. You can't watch that video again.
Oh, I think kids do watch them over and over again. Yeah.
Really?
Not like Baby Shark, where like they listen to it, you know, every day or 10 times in a row. Yeah. But I do think that there's probably some repeatability there. I think young people like to go back to the archive and watch the previous episodes. Kind of like Sopranos, right? Like I've watched The Sopranos from start to finish 3 times. So
okay.
You know, I think it is rewatchable, but maybe not like an audio song. But either way, it's pretty amazing when you think about Mr. Beast releases a Super Bowl every week in terms of viewership.
From that perspective, yeah.
And the duration is also interesting. You know, the duration of the Super Bowl is, you know, 4-hour experience, whatever. Yeah, he's now got 237 million subscribers. Pretty amazing. And there's a bunch of these channels from India that are also in the top 10. T-Series?
Yeah, T-Series is like a recording label in India.
Got it.
So it'd be like, what was it back?
Vivo or Sony
like
Records,
that.
Columbia Records.
And
then
like
SET India, 168 million subscribers. So
wow. I don't know exactly.
I think
what
that's because of the denominator, right? You have just so many people in India. You got 1 billion people. Yeah. It's, you know, 25% of the population, 17% of the population. 237 million subscribers to Mr. Beast. There's 330 million people in the United States. So he's got roughly, if half of those are US, he's got half the US population maybe subscribed. I wonder how many of the 237 million subscribers are active US subscribers. That's really the statistic I would look at.
So he just released a video on Saturday. Let's take a quick look at that, and we can see how many views that one has for just a rough sense of, how he stacks up.
I think he gets like 100 million, in the first couple of days. So
he got 77 million from 3 days ago, right? So, and 2 weeks ago, it was at 128 million. Wow, that's wild.
So it's basically within a week. He's got a Super Bowl. There's also, one of the other things to, when you're looking at these statistics and how they're recorded, there are drive-by views. So, if you were to discount people who watched 30 seconds in both cases, the Super Bowl and Mr. Beast, you might get a lot of drive-bys on social networks like YouTube or certainly Twitter. I think maybe half the views we get on Twitter for All In or for these podcasts, people might be dropping off in the first couple of minutes. And so do you really count those as views? At what minute do you, they are views technically, but, are they viewers, so to speak, right? So duration of views matters and percentage complete. That's one thing he obsesses about is a percentage completion.
Complete.
Yeah. All right, let's get into our AI demos here. Let's just do it. Yeah.
We have some really, really cool stuff today. It's a lot different than some stuff that we've seen before. So I'm very excited. So let's start off with one that is called AgentHub.dev.
AgentHub.dev. Got it.
And so they have templates. And so they have them for different types of use cases. I'm going to do like a simple one just for demonstration's sake. Daily stock report generation. So I can say, I want an agent that generates a daily stock report. So I'm just going to use their template. I'm going to zoom in here. And what this does, it's like like you can imagine, like a little bit of a workflow tool. And I'm just going to say every day I want to see Apple, Amazon, and NVIDIA, right? We do that. And over here we hit run. What it will do is it has a workflow here, which walks through, what it does, including website scraping, including some batch workflows.
So this looks like your standard flow chart, flow chart making software here. If this, then do that.
Exactly. And they have all those templates there. So you can look at the templates, but while this comes together as generating the files, you'll see I will get a report. So I've got 3 files here. And so I've got Apple. So if I were to, let me just download these 3. And if I were to download them and look at NVIDIA, and you'll see I got this little, oops, that one didn't come out correctly. So let's look at Apple. Oh, well, it bugged out on me.
It bugged out, but here it did a script where it said the average price is this. So if it did do it successfully, it would have filled that in.
Yeah, and it was working for me before. I want to give them credit, so I don't know if I messed it up or something. But it was pulling the price on these things, and it was incredible. So
it's going out into the open web and doing a search, scraping that data, normalizing it, putting it into a report.
Exactly. And, like they have a whole bunch of different templates in here. I just picked like a simple one, but they have ones for automated sales emails and outbound email creator. So these kind of multi-step flows with agents, which I think is really, really cool.
So this reminds me a little bit of Zapier or If This Then That.
Yes.
Combined with what we used to call workflow software in the 90s and 2000s. Lotus Notes was an original piece of workflow software that I actually used to script. I wouldn't call it coding, but it was scripting like this. Hey, go collect this information and then send it to this person. So if you think about like paying an invoice, you would create workflow software. An invoice came in, there's somebody, this is a, office supplies invoice. It has to go to the person who requested the staplers. Then it has to go to their manager to approve. Then it has to go to the office person to approve. Then it has to go to the CFO, accounts payable person. You would just send that invoice around. So, this is kind of stuff like that where you could build a workflow. Very interesting. And this is where you can start to, we've seen a couple approaches to this already, right? Sonny, we had somebody who was looking at recreating a web browser. Remember that one we had with the Chrome extension just a couple weeks ago? That kind of blew our minds.
Yep.
This is kind of the mind-blowing automation here. Here we go. So the analysis, Yeah.
So this is the analysis. So basically you can
so this is more than just giving you the stock price. The stock price of Amazon has been fluctuating over the past few weeks. On the last date, the stock closed at $172.34, showing a slight decrease from the previous day. The volume of trading has also been relatively high, indicating active market participation. We have the historical trend. we see there was a spike in stock price on this date, reaching $174.45. However, there's a downward trend after that with the stock closing. I mean, I don't know if you noticed this, but there are automated stories in Apple stocks where they tell you like this is an automated story. Have you seen those? Yeah. And so like, I'll go check my Uber stock or my Robinhood, and it's like, it's kind of like this, where it's like a little synopsis of what happened in the market. I'm like, okay, well, this isn't providing me enough value. Just, I would rather, I can look at the stock and know that, but I could see this being valuable over time. And this is going to get better and better. Yeah.
What you'd want to do is you'd want to customize it.
Listen, a strong sales team can make all the difference for a B2B startup. But if you're going to hire sharks, you need to let them hunt, and you can't slow them down with compliance hurdles like SOC 2. What is SOC 2? Well, any company that stores customer data in the cloud needs to be SOC 2 compliant. If you don't have your SOC 2 tight, your sales team can't close major deals. It's that simple. But thankfully, Vanta makes it real easy to get and renew your SOC 2 compliance. On average, Vanta customers are compliant in just 2 to 4 weeks. Without Vanta, it takes 3 to 5 months. Vanta can save you hundreds of hours of work and up to 85% on compliance costs. And Vanta does more than just SOC 2. They also automate up to 90% compliance for GDPR, HIPAA, and more. So here's your call to action. Stop slowing your sales team down and use Vanta. Get $1,000 off at vanta.com/twist. That's vanta.com/twist for $1,000 off your SOC 2.
You have the JCal Yes Chef. And if I worked for you and, there's something you want on a daily, I would build something inside AgentHub, and it would basically get you something every single day that you wanted to see. Could be an output from, I
could see this working for like, hey, collect all of the reviews of our product. Let's say you and I were running a CPG company.
Yeah.
Every day, go to Amazon, go to our Shopify store, go to Target, tell us all the new reviews, give us how the reviews are trending, and basically write a report, which we might have a $30, $40, $50 an hour employee doing previously.
Yes.
Who is, our review analysis. Now the review analysis could be scripted and automated without a developer. And then that person doesn't need to have a job, or they can move up the stack to doing more important work. So this is an A for me.
Yeah.
It's an A. I mean, I just like the structure of it too, where it's like drag and drop. Great interface. And I could see this eliminating a lot of repetitive work /jobs. Yeah. And I think that's what we're seeing in all these layoffs that are happening. I did a tweet today about it. I think these layoffs are really about 3 things. I'm talking about media and tech layoffs. Let me run this by you and see what you think. I think it's about 3 things. 1, people had very high salaries during peak ZIRP, right? There was a massive competition for employees, and a lot of people, I'm not trying to be cruel to anybody, but when there's a competitive market and you have unions maybe at the media companies fighting for people as they should, maybe salaries got a little inflated, 10, 20, 30%. Now that doesn't seem like a lot, but if you can lay off 10% of your workforce and then replace them with people who are 40% cheaper, or 50% cheaper, or they don't have the stock options, which we saw Evan Spiegel, I think, do at Snap. He kind of got rid of top-heavy people who had big stock packages. I've heard that people who've gotten laid off from Google have been asked to reapply for their jobs with a fraction, like a third less comp. Have you heard about this boomerang trend?
Yeah. So it's interesting that you use the word boomerang, because another thing that I've heard layered onto that was there was an echelon of folks that were so highly compensated that, and it certainly weren't the younger folks, but it was like the folks that were, I would say, like mid-20 years in, like mid-40s and up, that were at like really insane compensation levels of stock and salary. And what I'm finding is, in some cases, are being asked to come back, reapply, so that they can be reset. In other cases, they've created a lifestyle for themselves, and they can't do that because of
overhead,
low rate mortgages and overhead, and they got used to making JCal, even in our careers, it was insane to think about making $1 million to $1.5 million a year. And this was pretty common in that kind of echelon.
That strata of, I've been in the tech business for 25 years. I'm a Gen Xer. I did 3 job hops over 25 years or 20 years. I went from Google to Facebook to Uber. And each time I got $250,000 more, and I'm this elite person. But
Yeah.
And so then the second piece of this is, I think people are looking at it saying, can I automate what this person does?
Mm-hmm.
And so here, these tools, I look at these tools and I always just squint a little bit and I'm like, okay, 10x it. So here it did like a very basic analysis, highs and lows or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you asked it, hey, tell me about the forget about even like programming it, but you could say to another LM, what question should I ask this? What would be common questions to ask about stocks? And it would say, how does it compare to its competitors?
Yes.
How does this compare? And it could even come up with the questions to ask.
Yes.
And then put
AI
them in the
all
report.
The way down.
AI all the way down.
Yes.
So just like you get suggested searches, you did a search for, I don't know, burritos. And then it said, well, here's burrito recipes. Here's burrito low carb recipes, keto recipes. Like you didn't know to even ask, is there such a thing as a keto burrito? And it's like, yeah, there is. Here it is. Boom. Burrito alternatives, whatever.
Yep.
So that's what I see with this is, okay, this replaces a $30 an hour person, right? And if you ever want to do back of the envelope math as a leader in a startup, my trick is always 2,000 hours, right? The average person puts in 2,000 hours, it's generally accepted practice. So $30 an hour employee is $60,000. You add 20% to that. So it's $36 an hour, whatever, 36 times 2. You can easily do the math, $72,000 a year, whatever. You start looking at that. I think this replaces probably like that level of employee.
Yep.
Yeah. Now what's the next one it goes after? So you have the resetting, the automation, and the third piece is globalization and people finding people offshore who maybe really want work. And so those are my three things.
And the best way to think about what it goes after is look at the templates.
Okay, let's see some templates here. YouTube video processor. SEO optimized article generator. These are exactly $30, $40 an hour jobs in my experience. And when you hire, and if you hire consultants, they tend to charge double.
Imagine, I think you wanted one of these, a LinkedIn profile processor. Reads, right? Warm.
Oh my Lord.
Yes.
LinkedIn warmed reader. Oh, this is incredible.
This,
wow.
I was just doing this one, right?
This is stuff. So now we talked about this category, business process or outsourcing.
Yeah.
BPO. This is what happens in India. This is what happens in the Philippines. There's been an entire industry of doing this. Now, I think some of those people were doing their own scripts, but now you're going to be able to do this yourself. So, inbox categorizer, inbox summarizer, email order replier. Man, this is next level.
It is. It is like, I mean,
they're literally atomizing people's jobs, right? And so they're atomizing people's jobs. And so if you are the leader of a company and you want to do SEO and blog posts and social media and whatever, competitive analysis, like I could see doing competitive analysis here. Like let's say there was another podcast about, I'm a food podcast and you're a food podcast and we're competing against 10 other chef podcasts. You could have this go out and summarize what the other chefs are doing, then have the AI ask, who are their guests, make me a list of their guests, which of their videos are breaking out above average, and you can do competitive intelligence, boom. Wow. I mean, if you are going into the job market today, this is a list of what you could avoid, or this is a list of how you present yourself as the Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
I'm coming to your startup as the Grim Reaper.
Oh, that meme, the guy with the doors.
The meme with like knocking on doors. Yeah. Okay. Knock on the door for competitive analysis. Knock on the door for whatever. Yeah. What jobs are they coming for? Wow.
Okay.
I mean, this is kind of mind blowing. Like 2 A's. Boom. Congratulations. I think interface matters here. Yeah. I could see this interface, like the top 50% of my team members are good at this kind of interface.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I've tried to work on my team is just, please learn how to use Zapier. Please. It'll make me happier if you learn how to use Zapier.
Zapier.
I love Zapier. And I'm just constantly trying to get my team members to learn Zapier or basic, Coda scripting, Notion scripting.
You've got some cool scripts that you told me, right? That take your expenses from your credit card and put them into your Slack and all that.
It's really basic, but like just, people.
It's a big game changer.
It's a game changer. Like if we're doing an approval process, I worked on getting credit cards for my team members that can be turned on and turned off, like, those categories of cards. And then I like to have them sent into a Slack room with that person and with, the operations person. So then everybody sees your expenses as they're coming in. If you forgot and you subscribe to something, and you subscribe to the Wall Street Journal last year, but somebody else has a Wall Street Journal and we don't need two and whatever, at least we see it and you can have a conversation about it, right? Transparency. Yeah, really interesting stuff.
Okay. All right.
Let's keep going. Hey, strong start. It's hard to balance hiring top-tier developers and keeping your burn rate under control. But these days, I see a ton of founders successfully doing this by hiring remote talent. So let me tell you about Scalable Path. It's a software staffing company that can help you build an awesome remote developer team. And the right developer isn't just a list of technical skills. We all know that. It's about their personality. It's about their work ethic, their motivation, and their fit within your team. And Scalable Path knows this. So here's what they do. Their team will get to know your vision. They're going to get to know your needs, and then they're going to develop technical challenges tailored to the roles you're hiring for. And these challenges are conducted live and on video. So there's no gaming of the system. You're going to get great people. They also evaluate each candidate's soft skills like communication, attitude, and work style. Scalable Path has completed more than 300 projects for their clients, and they have a network of 30,000 developers. They've been doing this for over a decade. They know what they're doing. So you're going to be in great hands. Here's the best part. Twist listeners get 20% off their first month. If you're ready to scale your dev team and your business, check out scalablepath.com/twist. Once again, that domain name, scalablepath.com/twist for 20% off.
So the next one, this is super interesting. Let's put it like in a very similar category.
Okay.
So this is
Job
called Lucite. Yeah, exactly. No,
I apologize to people. I apologize to people with jobs that we're saying are going away.
So this one creates like these 4 types of basic analysis. You can do a business overview, competitive overview, financial overview, or buyer's list for stocks. And so basically you put it in here. It's lucite.app. And I'm going to have to share just a different window because its output is like a PowerPoint presentation. And so now, I did this and I have a keynote presentation here.
Okay.
And I basically did NVIDIA. And so I have this 7-slide presentation that does NVIDIA competitive landscape. So it's like GPU-based products. These are the folks, gaming products, data center and cloud.
Wow.
And basically.
Feels accurate?
Yeah. I mean, like, let's look at it. These are GPU competitors, AMD, right? Intel. Makes sense. These are gaming folks that are leveraging, their ecosystem. And these are folks that compete within data center. Feels right. Then a little bit of a breakdown in each company for each section, valuations, and then recent M&A transactions. This is done by an AI. Took 3 minutes.
Now, the question is, how much of this is correct? How much of it is hallucinating? And that really is kind of where I think the industry needs to get to is there needs to be AI checking the facts of AIs. Is this true?
Yes.
And that's, I haven't seen that, but this would be a really good product, would be an AI copilot that fact checks other copilots. I know this sounds stupid.
That's very meta.
It's very meta, but imagine there was a fact checking copilot. So I'm using Microsoft Copilot and I say, give me the competitive analysis for NVIDIA. And it gives it to me. Now I say to my fact checker, please go into this report and check each of the facts and find me sources for it on the open web, etc. And tell me if there's things wrong. And so that would be interesting is to take that PDF, upload it to Claude or ChatGPT-4 and say, can you tell me if any of this is factually incorrect? Do you think it would be able to do anything like that yet, or we're not there yet?
So I believe that the foundational models are capable of doing this. The challenge that they're running into is in order to fact check, they have to use third-party data systems they haven't licensed.
Got it.
Because, in the training data, they don't have like the current stock price of...
They're pulling it from some article somebody wrote previously in the Open Crawl Index. It's not correct.
Yes. And so in order to fact check it, they have to subscribe to like a Google Finance API or Bloomberg or, someone with an API. And that's where we haven't really crossed the chasm yet. And we've been talking about this where, the closest is like Perplexity, who has some data relationships, but like no one's really fully done it with like a real data provider. And I think the minute someone does that, we're going to really see a distinct jump in capabilities. And I think everyone's been on the edge of it, but it feels like it's coming very soon. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I would like to have a fact-checking API. So this is something in journalism or just in general, like, is this a true fact? So this is a request for startups here. Is this true?
Is this true?
Is this true.ai? It's a toolbar, it's a Copilot, it's a system tray, and it is reading everything in real time, like Grammarly does.
Yeah.
And it will tell us, it will just look at facts in the background and just try to independently determine if they're correct. And you could, spelling is one thing that, right? Is this word spelled correctly is something Grammarly is doing. Grammarly is also doing, is this, is the comma in the right place? So here, when we're looking at this NVIDIA financial snapshot, I would like it to know this is NVIDIA. No, this is finance data. So it says, what is this? Okay, this is NVIDIA's 5-year historical chart.
Yep.
And it says, go find it and then compare it to this. And that would be super interesting to me as a device. And then just highlight things. It's something I've always wanted as a product or a service, is a fact checking as a service. And having a human plus AI do this would be really fascinating. Fact checking as a service. I wonder if that is like a good startup idea.
This one, I just shared both the sheet and the Google stock price. I got the Apple stock price. I just did the share there. So I got those things accurate, which were 721.28. It said 0.3, and it got the market cap right. And then if I go back to the financials, that's a little bit harder to do through these tools. But
and what is the name of this one?
Lucite.app.
Lucite, Lucite.app.
Yeah. I'm
going to give it a B.
Okay.
I think it's like really a great start. Yeah. The fastest way to produce investment banking style materials. It's a great idea. Remember I was talking before about these kind of projects and, the dollar amount of the employee it's replacing. Yeah. Now we've gotten to, a $100,000 employee, like an analyst at a bank who makes these slides. And so
I pulled this one up.
Oh my God. Yeah.
This goes back to your previous point.
McKinsey puts 3,000 staffers on review, citing concerns over performance as the recently frothy consulting business slows. Yeah, if people don't read consulting reports, and the consulting reports are just a hodgepodge of web research, well, you might as well just run it through ChatGPT or Claude.
Or you've got an example, right, from all the stuff you've ever made. So you've got a corpus, and then you can just train an AI on that and say, go make things that look like this. What's interesting about Lucite is that's what they did, right? They trained it and said, these are like the 5 different basic, investment banking style presentations. Make them for us.
Right. They had the templates, and they made a verticalized tool to just focus on that. Yeah. Just like we have a company, Saga, that is doing just screenplays and storyboards. And I told them, I was like, this whole AI wrapper thing is nonsense. You're building a verticalized app. You're going to build so much on top of it that, it'd be like going to Google and saying you could do a spreadsheet at Google. Like, you could use Google search to do a math equation, right? You can put a math equation in the search box, or you could use Google to search for flights or whatever. But that doesn't mean you're not going to do Expedia, Kayak, or a Google Sheet or a Microsoft Excel thing. Like, you can get some basic functionality done with ChatGPT-4 or Claude. But if you verticalize this, man, they can really, really refine it and build features around it, like fact checking, like collaboration tools, et cetera. So I love these verticalized. If the AI wrapper vertical, I think is going to be very big. I think it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be huge. Yeah. I think so as well.
Yeah.
But that's where we're going.
Okay. So I give this B.
I liked it. Okay.
Yeah, I like it. It's very solid.
I'm like B+, I was probably higher, but I like the idea you said. If there could be a way that it could verify that the data is correct. Because now the fear you have is, citations. I think that would be really good.
It's like really cool. It creates a deck. Time is money. It's a really nice, All right. Good job, Lucite. B2B marketing is not an easy job. It's much different than B2C. Why? Well, enterprise buying cycles are much longer. It's not like you see some cool mug and you buy it as a consumer. No, enterprise buying cycles are long, and it's hard to find and reach decision makers through most marketing channels. We all know that. So that's why you need to check out LinkedIn ads. LinkedIn recently passed 1 billion users, which includes 180 million senior executives. That's right, about 18% are senior executives. But There's also 10 million C-suite executives on LinkedIn, CEOs, CFOs, CTOs, chief strategy officers. You know what I'm talking about. This means you can find and target these decision makers in a respectful environment. LinkedIn. And according to LinkedIn, their ads platform generated 2 to 5x higher return on ad spend when compared to other social media platforms. And it's easy to understand why. LinkedIn equals business, business equals LinkedIn. You understand this. When people are on LinkedIn, they're there to do business. They're not there to talk about politics or pop culture. They're there to do business, right? So your business message is going to be in the right place. Make B2B marketing everything it can be and get a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/thisweekinstartups to claim your credit. That's linkedin.com/thisweekinstartups. Terms and conditions do apply.
Jake, this is going to be a 2-part demo.
Because, two-part. I like it.
Well, our friends at Google released Gemini Ultra.
Explain what that is to the audience, because I saw this
Yeah.
and I was a little confused about what's the difference between Gemini Ultra and Google Bard. And then I saw a bunch of people were losing their shit that they got access to Gemini Ultra on like their Google app.
Okay, so there's a few different things. Bard's been renamed to gemini.google.com.
Okay.
FYI.
Okay.
Then Gemini Advanced, which is, and this is where this gets a little bit wonky, gives you access to Gemini Ultra 1.0. Ultra 1.0 is their most advanced model, which is great. The issue that I have is I have a Gmail account that's tied to a Google Fi account.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I'm going to pull this up here, and this is like totally wild. It's crazy because there's no way to try it. So when I go here and I go Gemini Advanced, which I want to try, and I go upgrade, I get this crazy message saying Google One's not available, although I'm a Google One customer.
Huh.
Because if you're a Google One customer through Google Fi, so I'm going to hand this one over to you, Jake Hell.
Okay.
And if you can go to gemini.google.com and see if you can pull it up, then we can try out Gemini Ultra together, or a Gemini Advanced, which is Gemini Ultra.
Okay. So Bard is now Gemini. I got that alert on my Gmail account, but I don't see Ultra.
You should be able to click beside the hamburger. There should be a little down arrow beside Gemini.
Oh, it says upgrade, Gemini Advanced.
Yes.
I click upgrade.
Yes.
Takes me to Google One. Oh, here we go. $19.
Yes. So you got to pay
$0
$19
for you, but $19 after. So I start my trial for Gemini Advanced. Okay. So now they have a ChatGPT-4 competitor.
Yes.
And okay, so I subscribe and let's see what happens here.
And so I haven't been able to try this one because this is my little bit gripe to Google. So I got to give it a really low grade because there's no way for me to subscribe and try it. So you've got to do this demo.
Okay, here I am. How can I help you today?
So okay,
I'm in.
There you go. Yeah.
All right. So what should I do as a search here? How would we test this? Well, we just did NVIDIA competitors, right?
Yeah.
So make me a table with NVIDIA's top competitors and the most important information about them. So I told it to make me a table, and we got a little spinning Gemini wheel. So see if it even understands a table. Absolutely. Competitor AMD. Yeah, I mean, it's...
Yeah. But like,
not great. How about...
What's cool is like the Lucite did a better job. That's what's interesting.
Yeah, Lucite did a better job. So this shows you how vertical apps are doing better than just Manline. What are some event spaces in Napa I can use for a 200-person corporate retreat? You know, I met with a company that is doing like an AI for event planning, and I've been using event planning. So here it goes. It's going to Google Maps for some reason. And let's see. It's giving me web pages. So this is like a Google search. No, that's not what I wanted. Terrible answer. Searching the web. Here are some results. Yeah. Give me 10 great locations to host a corporate offsite for 200 executives in Napa/wine country. Put the /wine country there. See if I can confuse it. Let's see if it gives me 10. I mean, I'm giving it very explicit instructions here. Yeah. I mean, so far, this is a total fail.
Yeah. Well,
literally wasting my time. I could have gone to the web. I mean, if I wanted to do a Google search, I would have done it.
Yeah. One of the things that it's meant to be really good at is multimodal. So maybe ask it a question where it's, bringing back some images or some ideas.
Well, here it did. It did do a map of some items. It didn't give me 10. It didn't give me a number list. These are not very good. Yeah. This is not a very good result. it's doing what I intended it to do. It just didn't give me the fidelity of results I wanted. Like if I were to ask an event producer for this information, I would have gotten a much better result. Like a human could do this much better. This just
maybe try your burrito example and ask it for something like that.
Or sushi restaurants. What are some great sushi restaurants with omakase in the Bay Area? These are like things you would search Google for, right?
And you want it to give you the answer. You don't want to deal with all the links and everything else, right? So,
this is okay. It's hitting Google Maps again. Not great. Which restaurants have Peking duck in the Bay Area? Let's see if I got like a Peking. I'm getting very specific. I'm getting a dish, right? Maybe they'll show me photos of the dish. Yeah. Same nonsense. I would have been better just doing a Google search. What are the top Peking duck dishes in the world at 4-star restaurants? Show me 5 to 10 photos. So again, multimodal trying to get this. I mean, I think we're going to have to sit Sundar down again. Remember I told him he's going to have to bring people in and do these searches in front of them?
He fixed the name. Yeah.
I mean, fixing the name is not as important as fixing the answers. I mean, this is also slow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, this isn't good.
Yep.
I mean, maybe. Hakkasan, I did get Hakkasan. I do think Hakkasan is one of the top Peking duck places in the world. Mott 32. Okay, wait, this is more promising. Okay, I take it back. If you had asked me the best Peking duck in the world, I would have said Mott 32 and I would have said Hakkasan. Both known for having like very elite Peking duck, and it did give me the picture. So this is slightly better. I will say, like, generally speaking, continue to be disappointed, and they need to do more work on this. I'll give Gemini like a B. Nah, I'll give it a C plus. C plus. Yeah, I just don't feel like it understands what I'm asking here, and I'm asking it very Google-centric versions of this, and it feels like they're just not getting it right enough. Yeah. It's like close. Maybe it's a B minus. I'm going to go B minus.
Yeah. And unfortunately, I can't grade it because I can't try it, and they got to fix that too.
I mean, I feel like Google needs to lay off another 10,000 people. I mean, I don't mean to be cruel, but I just feel like it's still bloated and like not elite teams building elite product. I feel like Facebook and ChatGPT, Microsoft, Tesla, Twitter, like more elite teams. And I just don't feel like Google has eliteness going on right now. It's not elite enough for my expectation of Google. This is where Samurai Sergey's got to get in here and just
high expectations right now. Yeah, for sure.
My expectations of Google are real. I think that's why I'm giving it lower grades, is because I've got higher expectations of Google than anybody else.
Well, I want to try it. So I'll reserve to come back next week. So if someone is listening or watching and you're in Google, please help me subscribe. I want to pay you $20 to try it out. But
I mean, this is the thing. You know what? They have so much cruft at Google. I know how this happens. Like they're like, oh, okay, we have this. And I brought this up with Sundar one time where I was like, listen, I did. I said, you treat Google domains as second-class citizens when we're paying you for Google Docs, right? Like, if I've got my company at Google Docs and then I try to use Google Fi, it's like, no, you have to have a Gmail account. Use your personal Gmail. And it's like, you're taking your best customers and you're making us jump through goddamn hoops. So now if I want to use Google Fi on my org, you're making me tell everybody to use their personal ones and then I don't have control over it as the, but I'm paying you for this. Like, why is there this separation between I understand why. There's a separation between the namespaces. But like, this is the same thing that happened with Nest. Like you want to use Google Docs with Nest, you can't do, or whatever, Google Home. It's just the interoperability. And I mean, maybe this is just what happens when companies get too big and there's too many product lines and cruft and stuff like that. But they have to simplify this and make it easier. Yeah. It should be
single
so
sign-on
easy.
Is pretty straightforward. I'm surprised that that's happening, right? And the error message is fixed. But please, someone get in touch. We'll try it out. We'll do another demo.
We'll give you another shot. I mean, but Gemini Advanced. I'm just not feeling it yet.
What was your grade again?
B. I'm going to give it officially a B minus.
Okay, officially a B minus, but
officially a B minus. And you're officially
I can't grade it. I can't really give it a grade. So, but I want to, and I'll, like everything else, I played with it before. I just couldn't do it. So
let's keep our roundtable going here. You got another one for us?
Yeah, I do.
This should give startups a lot of hope.
Yeah.
Big companies with their unlimited resources trip over themselves. And we saw two companies, Lucite and AgentHub, are much better products than the mighty Googles, Gemini. So just to give those two companies their flowers, like Google can't get out of their way to compete with you yet. Now they might figure it out eventually and just like take some giant leap forward, but keep being scrappy, startups. You can beat Google, you can beat ChatGPT, you can beat Microsoft, you can beat, Apple, you can beat all the Meta, you can beat them all just by being scrappier and focusing on the customer experience.
Everything is changing. Just do it. Two more quick ones. Okay.
Two more quick ones. Here we go. Lightning round.
Right. So the next one, really cool. I actually just saw this earlier today on Twitter. Friend Eric Vitria, I think he funded it over at Benchmark. And basically it does PCB layout using AI. And so we're not going to do a layout here, but there's try instant example. And it gives you some very popular things. I can say, I want to do this Arduino. You've seen these things, right? I'm sure you've had some hardware startups.
Just explain what it is. Yeah, what an Arduino is.
So Arduino is like an open source design to run Android.
Right. It's like an open source computer that you can like build off of the standard. And it's got things like a USB-C port and
exactly,
whatever, HDMI and memory. So it's like a computer on a stick. Arduino is like a computer on a stick that hackers would use.
Yes.
But here you're taking an Arduino and
so when you're creating, this is, again, we're going verticalized again. When you're creating the PCB, that's what the chip and all the surrounding components go on, the USB. This uses AI to do the layout of the PCB. And this is a 4-layer PCB that has, these rules put in. And it did a bunch of different candidates, which is this candidate can be produced by the most fabs. This candidate has the fewest layers. This one has the shortest number of traces. And all these things are factors in, when you're making hardware. Who's capable of making it? More layers, more expensive. Shorter traces means, everything is closer together.
Wow.
And to see this being done by AI is wicked.
Yeah. And so this is where the flywheel gets out of control because you have AI building the hardware that could fuel and enable future AI models. Now it's doing this with Arduinos.
Yes.
Not NVIDIA chips or not,
and the PCB,
whatever.
not the chips. This is the
not
PCB,
the board,
board that they go on, right? And, But, it'll
eventually be AI all the way down. And so at some point, this AI will be pointed at chip manufacturing and PCBs and everything else. And it's just going to have, I think the first phase will be able to have insights that'll inspire humans, and save them time in making the stuff. But then at some point, it's going to have breakthroughs, right? You know what I'm saying? Like insights are different than breakthroughs, or efficiency is different than insights, is different than breakthroughs. So this, to me, is an efficiency play, right? Like the person who's making these is going to be much more efficient at their job.
Correct. And could be breakthroughs because the AI can think of things in those different ways as well. So you can have it efficiency plus breakthrough. You can grow on both dimensions.
Yeah. But do you think it's actually doing more than efficiency and insights? And is that the breakthrough level yet? I mean, we'd have to ask them, or
we'd have to pull someone in. So I think you should have these folks on because, look, I'm not an expert in PCB
or have
design.
Them just tweet at us. Just tweet at the TWI Startups account when we put the clip up. And just let's start these conversations on X. So x.com/Sandeep/Jason/TWI Startups. If this is your company or we mention your company, when we put the video clip up, or you can take the clip and put it up on your handle, follow up with us and let's start the discussion on X to just keep these demos moving. What do we get right? What do we get wrong? And where are you headed with us? And my question is, has this thing had an insight or breakthroughs?
Yep.
Not just efficiency, right? And so
I'd love to hear that.
Well, when you think about it, like I was talking about Saga, this screenplay writing software, it's giving people insights and breakthroughs, right? Like you put in your screenplay, or you say, hey, this is the TV show I want to make. It's going to be 9 episodes. I want this character arc. And I just gave it I want to do the Sopranos plus Blade Runner. I want to have like a mafia story, and I want it to be a mafia story in a cyberpunk mafia story. seems pretty interesting to me, like a crime family in the Blade Runner setting, right? So just, it would be pretty dope, right?
Yeah.
Like, who's Tony Soprano in Blade Runner, and what are they doing and what's their crimes and, what are they trafficking in, right? Are they doing
My version
gambling?
of that is modern Seinfeld's. Like when I just want to entertain myself, I just have one of these, just write a modern Seinfeld episode.
And so for a writer who's in there, like, it's going to give you insights that, I was talking to the founder of Saga, and he's like, I was like, how do people get these insights currently? And it's like, they're in the shower, they watch movies, they read books, they go on long walks, and that's why, a great screenplay might take a human 2 or 3 years. But if you're sitting here using, some verticalized AI, maybe you get a really cool insight with the AI helping you. Oh yeah, we should make an anti-hero. Oh no, what if it was a female lead? Oh no, what if it was, this person double-crossed them? And it might have taken the creator of Sopranos to have the relationship with the mother and Tony Soprano and the psychiatrist. Like, those were incredible breakthroughs that he had. Yep. I don't know how long it took. Is it David Chase? To come up with those, but maybe he could have had 7 other ideas for Sopranos episodes, right? That would be really interesting. I would love to watch more Sopranos episodes, and if they could do it all in AI and give me, to get one more season of Sopranos, or just to fill in one episode per season, just give the AI, but I don't know how many seasons it lasted, but it was under 10, I think. Just give it each season and just say, can you give me 10 more minutes per episode of awesomeness? And I could watch it with some things I didn't remember, but 10 more minutes of backstory. Ooh, give me
so good.
It would just be so that would fill my bucket. It would fill my bucket. I would be really happy. And that's what I think, we're on the cusp of here is So anyway, I give this a B plus just for efficiency. I'm not even going inside.
I think it's a hard problem. Okay. I think it's a very hard problem. And
I'm a neophyte in this.
See AI being used. Okay. All right.
Last one.
So Apple this week released a model designed for modifying images. And
we had talked about that. This was coming.
Yes. And so
Maggie.
the reason, exactly. And so the reason I want to show this is we can imagine, because we have a bet going on, what we're going to get in the next iPhone. And so basically, I took a picture, and I won't run it here, and I just did a simple one, remove the background. And what this model does is 2 interesting things. It removed the background, and it also kind of gives the expressive instruction around what was required there. So we've seen things like this before, but Apple coming out and putting this out there means it's a little teaser. It's a new way to do a teaser to the community. Yes, of what's coming our way.
Follow the breadcrumbs. So Apple is doing Maggie. Maggie is their image processing open source AI.
Yep.
You can do things like their model. If they're building this model and they're doing it, that means you're going to be able to go into Apple Photos on iPhone 16, I would predict, and say, hey, for this photo, can you remove the background? Can you brighten the faces? And can you... whatever, make it crispier or something, or change, give me some ideas of better lighting. And that would be built into the iPhone, and they'll probably have an AI chip, or Maggie will be built into your phone. So you don't have to go up to the cloud to do this.
Yeah.
That's what you believe. You believe this will run on a phone. Yeah. And that's part of our bet for whatever it is, June 1st or July 1st.
Exactly. Right.
Thisweekinstartups.com/bets. You can look up our bets, but so this is going to be down to the wire. We know that it's coming.
Yes.
And to just explain to the audience what it means to have a language model plus chipset that can do this kind of stuff on a phone. What would that mean, for consumers? What does that unlock? And why is it important? Explain it to people.
Well, I think we're going to get the following. I think you can get sort of unlimited memes. And so I think you were asking about this in one of our chats the other day. And so I just did this right now. I said, give the man a mustache.
Yeah. Well, how about give him a mustache? Give him a goatee that looks realistic. That's not funny, like an actual, because he gave me like a character mustache, but give it a Ted Lasso mustache. That would be funny.
Okay. Give the man a Ted Lasso
mustache. Yeah. This would be interesting if it knows what Ted Lasso is. Here it goes. And it's running. What is this running on? Your MacBook or in the cloud?
No, this is it's someone
Hugging
just posted
Face?
this on Hugging Face, exactly.
Got it. It's a Hugging Face running this, and it's taking looks like about 30 seconds to do it, and it gave me not a Ted Lasso message.
That is not a Ted Lasso.
So more work to do.
But that's what's cool, because they're putting it out there because they're going to get this feedback, and that's a different thing from Apple, and it shows what generative AI is about. You can't do everything inside a box. You got to be open. You got to embrace open source. You got to get feedback from the developers. Open source is going to win. Open source is going to win. You heard it here first. I think that what this means is like Stable Diffusion at 10 billion or whatever. I don't know what valuation they had, but these models are going to be open source. And if they're open source, and remember OpenAI went closed AI, and they're not giving the code or the weights, right? The only person who has the code and the weights is Microsoft, because they put 10 billion in. Because of their deal, correct. Because of their deal. So Microsoft has the source code, I think, and the weights. Yes. From OpenAI. That's the reports. Yep. Now, Meta and Apple, two of the Magnificent Seven, are putting all of this out open source. Google is not open sourcing their Gemini Bard stuff, right? That's proprietary. Amazon doesn't have a large language model. They might be participating with other folks. Yep. And Tesla's model for self-driving is obviously proprietary. I don't think that's open source. It can't be. So the question is, does Microsoft versus ChatGPT can ChatGPT, OpenAI and Microsoft, that duopoly, can they beat Apple and Meta open source? Your answer? No. Wow. Stunning. Yep. Snap. You snapped it. Well, you called. You shoved all the chips in. You believe Meta and Apple will beat the mighty Microsoft OpenAI duopoly. And look, we've seen this movie before. Operating systems, Microsoft, Sun, all that seeds to Linux, right? From what's powering almost everything out there, some type of Linux base, right? Saw it in databases. We saw it in programming languages. We've seen this movie through our entire history. It's very hard to have a proprietary platform model beat an open source one. Now, for desktops, Microsoft Windows and Apple's is built off of open source. It's like a Unix base, BSD base, I believe. But Android's open source, right? And it seems to me Android dominates the world in terms of phone. Yes, Apple gets all the profit from iOS being closed, but I think that was sort of you can't win it every time. You can't expect it to win every time. But in this case, I think I have to agree with you, because knowing what I know about startups, if you're a startup, you're going to use the best product available, which is ChatGPT 4 right now. But long term, you're not going to want to be tied to their whims, and they could change the rules on you. And so you're going to probably, which would be listen, Oracle's great. Oracle databases run like some very sophisticated stuff, but I watched as startups used Hadoop, whatever, MySQL, there's a whole series of open source database stuff. And so, to see there you go, put some glasses on them. What kind of glasses are those? I don't know. Oh, we'll just put sunglasses on you. Yeah, maybe Ray-Bans. So, Ray-Ban. I think Apple doing this is, if you're behind, you go open source, is what I've always said. If you were trying to catch up, you want to create chaos, and you go open source. So I think Apple and Meta are behind, so they go open source. And they also have lock-in with their brands. So it makes total sense. What did you think? I didn't see the Microsoft Copilot ad. There was a Copilot ad? How was it? It basically was a direct competitor to, oh my God, that is not Ray-Ban sunglasses. Oh, you have sun. Yeah. You don't have sunglasses. So we're going to have epic memes, because you should be able to create them on your phone. Laser eyes. Yeah. So it's going directly after what? What is Microsoft Copilot going directly after? ChatGPT. Like it's a full experience that you couldn't really differentiate at all. So now I'm going to have to make a decision. Am I paying for Microsoft Copilot? Am I paying for Claude, Poe, or ChatGPT, or Gemini? Because now I'm paying for all of them. Correct. That's where we're going. Isn't it so weird that Copilot, Microsoft Copilot, is built off of ChatGPT 4? Playing it here. Yeah. Oh, here we go. Yeah. I didn't see it. Let me take a look. We could keep talking, but I just no. Here it goes. Or build something. Yeah. Whoa. They say I'm too old to learn something new. Yeah. Too young to change the world. Yeah. So they're really going after the consumer use case.
right? That's what we're seeing here. Is they want to go after the consumer.
This is all,
generate images. Yep, here we go.
Yep.
Write code for my 3D game. Wow. They're literally just basically
quiz me in organic chemistry.
So when you see this, did they pull the rug out from ChatGPT by buying into it and saying, we have the rights to it, we're going to make a consumer product, and then try to beat them with the consumer? Because it's the same product with a different wrapper. And Microsoft has massive distribution and ChatGPT doesn't.
Correct. I think that's the case. And, the only thing we don't know is, the deal that they've struck, is it for every model going forward? Or is it just for the existing models? Is it just for the next one? I think what's going to be really interesting in that relationship, especially after seeing that ad, is how they coexist. Because before, what was being sort of outlined was Microsoft was going to do enterprise stuff and OpenAI would go after startups plus the consumer. Now it's,
game on.
Game on.
Game on. And is Microsoft charging for Copilot? Is it like $20 a month, right? Heads up against ChatGPT, or are they going to just make it free and just
I think it's been free so far. I don't know if they have a plan, but so far it's been free. So if you're willing to go get a Microsoft login and do that, it's been free. So you don't have to use GPT-4.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really interesting, like as a chessboard, because remember this also when Sam Altman was ousted as CEO for 15 minutes, they were all going to go work at Microsoft. So Satya was going to hire them all, which means Satya's hiring them all, or maybe he's just hiring people and then he builds up his team. And then when he gets the team to a certain level, it doesn't matter. So maybe like he did this interim deal, I put 10 billion into it, but I know this is $1 trillion opportunity. Yeah. So I just get the code base, I get the weights, and then I just replicate it and build something better.
Yeah. Very fascinating.
Very fascinating.
A lot of times. Yeah.
Well, and then also you just think about bundling, right? Microsoft bundled the browser, and we've seen this movie before. So if they bundle Copilot, and it's just like it's everywhere, because I got the little Copilot on my desktop, my Windows desktop, and then Apple, if it's just built into the operating system, I don't know if Apple's going to just make Siri their Copilot. And then where's Amazon and all this with Alexa? Why can't Amazon get Alexa? Shouldn't they just rebuild Alexa with a language model and just start over?
There was an article a little bit recently of that they let go of a huge chunk of the Alexa team, right? And I think that's what they must be doing, right?
They must be preparing.
Yeah.
Perfect example of being too early, right? Siri and Alexa were too early and didn't work, and they worked in like constrained environments. Did you get a Vision Pro yet? Apple Vision Pro yet?
No, I listened to you on the pod.
I gotta pick mine up.
So I did the same thing, and I went to the Apple store to buy it, which they would let me buy it, but they wouldn't let me try it.
Huh.
And I said, well, can I just try it? And it's kind of like, I was a little bit like
perturbed.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, you want me to spend $3,400? And they're like, it was on the Saturday, it came out on the Friday. So they have them available because they're expensive. And I was like, I'm willing to do it. And, I built a company.
I think we should do it. I'm getting mine. Just go buy it. If you want, I'll pay for yours. Sure.
As
a thank you for you, as a thank you for you doing this, and I don't pay you for this. You're getting a lot out of it with your, but I get more out of it, I think. So I will pay for yours. Submit an invoice to us, and we will pay for yours. But you got to use it. And I want to incorporate Mondays will be AI and Vision Pro demos going forward.
Vision Pro. Oh, okay.
4 AIs, 1 Vision Pro. How about that? Is that a good ratio? 4 to 1, 3 to 2.
Okay.
But I just want to, because I think it's the real deal. After hearing Friedberg, who's like he's a bit of a weirdo, I mean that in a good way, like Friedberg's got a good sense for like weird shit, I think. Yeah. And
he had a good use case like for work.
Yeah.
Right?
See, I'm going with Friedberg on this one. I think Friedberg knows what he's talking about. And I think you and I doing the demos for both of these emerging platforms every Monday makes us even more. People tell me that Mondays are essential listening for This Week in Startups. And if we do this, maybe, you're going to wind up being the co-host here, because it might be we have to do Vision Pro one day and AI one day, and you're going to get nothing done like me. You're just be doing podcasts constantly.
I mean,
Well, go pick it up, buy it, send us the bill. I'll pay for it. Right. And then we don't have to, you don't have to have the cognitive.
I was ready to buy it. I just wanted to demo it. I was like, let me try it out.
I know. I just don't want that. Don't be I get it. I get what you're saying, but It's kind of like, we got to make the jump here. It's clear that something's going on with this.
Okay.
There's something going on with it. And I think it's a desktop replacement. That's what my position has always been, is this is a desktop educational replacement. I think, and then let's see if we can do an episode inside of it. Let's see. Actually, here's what we do. This is what we should attempt for next week.
Yeah.
We do the AI demos inside of the Vision Pro and we release it. So like idiots, we wear the goggles on Zoom on our desktops, but we do the demos. I don't know if there's a FaceTime feature or Zoom inside of
it. It renders your face and all that.
Yeah, but could we do the demos and record the demos inside of our Vision Pros and then stitch it together? So like the demos we did today, you and I looking,
they would be on like a screen or something, right?
Yeah, it'd probably look terrible for the audience, but it'd be interesting.
We'll give it a try.
Everybody,
We'll have to do some
give it
prep.
a try. Okay. We'll have to do some prep. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.